Now on the backing with a single rein backup, it's important for the lesson because it clarifies what the command is, and the clarification is that the rein is touching the neck. Okay, because there's a lot of different things that we do with our horses that overlap, so that we pick up a command and the horse doesn't know we're asking it to stop or break at the pole or what, you know. So we want to have things to be clarified. So when we pick up the rein slowly, touch that neck, that's the single rein backup. Okay.
Did you move it back at all to give her the back signal, or just touch the
No, you know, watch when it picks up the slack, and now she's going to do it. But when I come in here and make contact with the bit and touch the neck, I'll give a single kiss for the movement. A single kiss. But the thing that you want to do, just for your own observation, is to pick things up slowly so the horse feels what that process feels, or that approach feels like. This is an important thing because when you're intentionally asking something in slow motion, you are actually telegraphing what your language feels like. If you pick things up real quick, it doesn't come quite as quickly to the horse, or it doesn't register with the horse quite as quickly. So when you practice for the purpose of teaching your horse and improving your own timing, this is where you want to be kind of the slow motion person when you're picking up the reins. So you pick it up slowly, and there's your backup. Okay. Now after you've done this, let's say on this side, then you'll do it on the other side, and then you'll start to test yourself a little bit, and you'll stay on this side and pick up this rein. Okay, that's how you're going to test yourself, test your communication with your horse. She's going to naturally think she's supposed to give to the bit, so I'll just sit on this for a second, not adding any more pressure. Give a kiss, and there's the backup. These kind of, as the process that your horse goes through to answer the question, needs to be important to the rider, because you want to get some kind of a instinct about your horse in terms of how they perceive your information. So it's really, really important. So what we're going to be doing here to begin with is making sure everybody has this process working for them and being able to back your horse in a straight line on the snaffle bit. It's from the ground. And then we'll get in the saddle. But before we get in the saddle, after we've spent this time, each of you getting your horses where they're backing, and it's not the fact that they have to back really well, not like this, but that the communication is working, we're going to offer to change horses. Nobody's going to ride anybody else's horse, but you're going to see if you can offer this information to a different animal. Okay? Because there's no danger involved in this. I want you to think about that, and because you have a personal relationship with your horse, things may go like clockwork or not. But if you engage with a different horse that you don't know, and everybody's going to want to get with Belle, I think, right? Right. So I'm going to go from horse to horse here just to see how everybody is orientated. Now, remember I showed you the sequence of the give, pivot, and backup. We're going to get to that, but we're going to start with just the backup first. So we're going to come up here. If you notice, I've got the line coming through my thumb. I'm going to use it, just come up here to take the slack out and just wait for the horse. If he starts to move away, I want to move with him. See right here how he wants to turn away. Just stay with him. All he's doing here is trying to find an answer to the question. And when the answer shows up, but if you try to stop him from moving away and start over again, he will never discover the answer. So pick it up, make a contact, off a single kiss, give a release. Now as we get further on in this, we'll be asking for multiple steps, but in the beginning you're just asking for one step. You got to be prepared to do a little dance with your horse. But what I'll do with him when I come up like this, if he starts to move, I'm just going to leave my hand on his neck until he decides to back up. You know, so I can hold something. Yeah. Okay? Let's see how you're doing, Lauren. Okay, now when you're asking for this, you want to use the hand that you're going to use if you're in the saddle. So you use your left hand. Release. Even if he doesn't move his feet, but if you see the muscle contraction, now pick it up again. Good. Waiting for him to discover what to do with this information. It's kind of like watching the paint dry, but attaboy. Pick it up again. Now if he turns around to you, then you just keep stepping out of his way, but don't abandon the command. Right here, watch. Because if he bends to you and you try to correct him in any way, he'll think that's what he's supposed to do. Attaboy. Now, when you're...
And then I release?
Yeah, you want to, but you almost want to exaggerate your release.
Okay.
So it's like something really happened.
I just.
Now I use this to hold the rein. Attaboy. Release. And when you want to, on your release, just kind of exaggerate it so it's like boom.
Yeah.
You want to think about how it would be if you were in the saddle. So this is a kind of a search. You're trying to find the horse. So you're doing this slowly. Release. And just keep searching for it as you would, because you're going to be doing the same thing in the saddle. Attaboy.
There he's got it.
Attaboy.
Yeah.
So as you're picking this up,
Go from that.
as you're picking it up, that's what takes the slack out.
Okay.
So and you're kind of searching to find out where he's going to discover the response. Attaboy. Now what I do once I get to this point here is I use my thumb to hold the position with the rein. Now, as you guys are working with your horses, you may find your horse doing really well and then not. And that's absolutely a normal process for every horse when it's learning anything, because this is a pretty dull program right here for the horse. There's nothing really going on. And so they're going to check out frequently. Actually, when you see a horse regress in a lesson, you want to actually embrace that. That's a positive part of their learning process. So every time they regress, you don't question yourself thinking, what am I doing wrong? It's just the way the horse learns. Good. Now, I don't know if I mentioned this to you or not, I think I did, but as you start to develop your technique for picking the rein up, you want to make it really clear so that the repetition of it is so clear to the horse that he'll start to get almost cued by the way you pick the rein up. So if you go this way, you'll see that response because he feels that rein being picked up. And this is what you want to kind of develop your way of doing it, so that, because what you're going to do here, you're going to obviously do it when you're on his back, and that this is part of your finesse of the way that you handle the rein, and you want to kind of get that ingrained in his mind. Okay, now let's add something to this from the side that you're on. Use that rein and have the horse back up 4 steps. Now let me caution you on this. It's almost instinct. When somebody says back up 4 steps, that's the goal. And that's not the goal here. That's just the destination. We want you to figure out how to pick up and how to have that feel, just like when I was demonstrating on spring. You pick up and that horse will just travel, but particularly at this level, this point where right now, you'll find yourself trying to get that extra step. The extra step doesn't mean anything to the horse. He doesn't think, oh, I made it.
I counted to 4.
You know, so I want you to think about that now, and as you work into your lesson, see if you can accomplish 4 steps without asking or adding more pressure on the horse's mouth. 1 kiss at a time. Very good. Right. There you go. That's it. Good. Good, Carlson. And you want to see how lightly this whole thing feels. If you find yourself trying to make it happen, that's where you want to caution yourself. If it gives you free steps backwards, like that, 4 steps, then you go to the other side and do the same thing. If it doesn't give you that, that tells you that you want to work a little bit on the transition into the decision before you start thinking about letting the horse take multiple steps. And now remind yourselves, everybody, that you are trying to discover the horse that you're working with. Don't just move in there and insist on a decision, but try to discover that particular horse. Remember, remind yourself that the slower you ask, the more clear it becomes to the animal. Good, good. That girl. Good job.
Yeah, because I just stayed with it until he took a step back.
Excellent. Very good. Good job.